All right, hey everybody, and welcome to Chew Stream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chew, and today we are doing number 9, week 9 of the 90-minute art challenge. This one is a fun one, especially for me, because I love furry creatures, as many of you know. And what do you do during the art challenge? Well, it's super simple. 90 minutes to complete an illustration based on the image given. Links to the image in the video below. Link to the image in the video details below. There we go. And of course, everybody got the subject for this week already. So there's already been an awesome bunch of submissions, which I will show momentarily. And of course, you caught this live, or if you caught this live and you're not watching this days later, you can ask questions. Hashtag ChewStream or the Discord. I got the wrong little slate up here, but there is a Discord channel which is also in the details of the video. Okay, so you could go there for details. And I want to just go over some of these awesome submissions that have come in already of our little monkey. This one, holy smokes, 3D, whoa, combination, super combo. That's awesome. This one, beautiful, lovely illustration, very illustrative, and beautiful. Awesome. Now that's what I'm talking about. Inspired by the image, right? That's freaking fantastic. Another one, another beautifully done illustration here. Boom, another one. So good. This week has been nonstop, really great, beautiful illustrations. And we have one of a biker monkey here. Fantastic. And this one, lovely study. This was of the week before. And then this one is from week 1, which I thought was fantastic. It's very different from the original, but of course, I definitely see the influence. Fantastic. Really, really well done. Great job to everybody. And why don't we go to today's painting? Okay, so today's painting, this is of the monkey. Let me move this up a little bit. Right, this is the monkey study, and what I liked about this was the exposure. I liked the light. I liked how it affected the background. I liked the depth of field, and I love fur. I love the lighting. So this was kind of like a home run to me. I really enjoyed doing this exercise. And you have 90 minutes, okay? 90 minutes to do this exercise. Now let's see. Oh, I want to mention that, as you can see, I've had this thing on the bottom here that says $198, which is $100 off an annual subscription to Schoolism. Schoolism.com, that's where I teach art. That's where a lot of my favorite artists teach art. And with a Schoolism subscription, you get access to 30 plus art courses at schoolism.com. Sale ends June 5th, 2020, which is not that far away. That's like 11 days away. Okay, and you can get a full year of education with over 30 courses, plus the new artist workouts. One by Nathan Fowkes that just dropped yesterday, I should add. And yeah, how can you go wrong? That's like less than $10 per course when you calculate it. And if you think about the cost of education and everything, hopefully this becomes a no-brainer to many of you. And hopefully many of you will get on the sale before it ends, and it's not going to be one of those hundreds of emails that we tend to get after the sale saying, I missed the sale. Can I get it? No, you can't. I'm sorry. We're trying to get the word out there, so please help us and get the word out there. Okay, so yeah, I want to kind of help get the word out there because are 11 days left of the stream. Oh, there I am. All right. Because there's 11 days left in the stream, we're going to do 11 days of content on YouTube. Okay, and I wanted to do this for a while. Why? Because I've been telling everybody, I've been telling you guys on the stream that in order for me to really feel like I studied something, I can't just study it once. I got to study it multiple times. I got to paint the thing over and over and over again because every time I'm going to get something different. And every time if I paint it with a different focus, I will learn something different as well. And so with that practice, that's how you really get all of the knowledge out of each study. If you only study it once, you only get like a tiny fraction, right? So this is a subject that I love, and I hope you love it too, because I want to study this a few times with you. We'll still do our regularly scheduled streams. Okay, so next week, Tuesday, it's going to be a different subject. Actually, it's going to be a subject that I'm very excited about. Lord of the Rings. So if you go to the Tumblr account, you'll see that image there. That's going to be a really fun one. I'm going to do a special stream tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, for the people that can't get up in time for this stream, 2 p.m. Eastern time, for all the people that couldn't make it to this stream this time. And I'm going to do a special one on Sunday for all the people that can't make it on the weekdays. And every day will be a new stream. And you can see, hopefully I put into the details of the video here, that there's a stream tomorrow and the details of it. And it's going to be a Zoom webinar kind of stream, okay? So I got Zoom Pro or whatever. I'm using it. Set up a webinar. It only accepts 100 people. Okay, there's about 74 of you online right now, and we're going to be putting the word out. So you can register to be a part of those 100 people. I don't know why it's 100 people, but with my account currently, I'm maxed out at 100 people. With 100 people, what I'm able to do is I'm able to kind of promote any of them and any of you to become panelists, so you can start talking. You can come into the stream with video if you want. Things like that. We'll see what we'll do with it, because again, it is going to be an illustration challenge, just like this one, but it'll be take 2. We're going to do it again. We're going to do something different. The challenge is to create a different creature, a different thing, a different look at this illustration. How can you do a different take on the same subject to really kind of get as much info out of this as possible? Okay, and Friday is going to be a very special stream. That's going to be another webinar Zoom thing where you can apply to be one of the 100 attendees. And all of these streams, they will still be streamed off of YouTube, so don't you worry. Okay, everybody's still free to watch on YouTube for free, not registering a darn thing, and then hang out in the chat and just start talking in the chat. And wow, everybody is definitely talking in the chat. I could see a bunch of people telling me where they're from. I want to give some big shouts out. But first, I want to say Friday is going to be cool. That's going to be a free portfolio review for all of you. Okay, so for those that register for that stream, and we'll put details into the video below, unless it's already there. Okay, you can sign up for the webinar there, and then you can hopefully have a chance to have your portfolio reviewed, okay, and paint overs and things like that. That's what I want to do. Uh, and of course, you guys can all watch this live on YouTube as well. So I talked a bunch and I painted a rock. I want to talk about brushes a little bit. I am using a splatter brush right now. That is from, Kyle Webster's brushes, Kyle brushes, Kyle brush. Fantastic. This is from I want to say it's from the concept pack. And there's like there's a variety of brushes there. Yeah, so a bunch of things coming up. The next 11 days, every day is going to be something new. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, definitely subscribe. There's going to be interviews, there's going to be all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, why don't we go to some of the questions? Okay, so since I am streaming on Discord now as well, maybe we could go to any questions on Discord first. Could wait a little bit, see if anybody picks up. Perhaps there's a little delay. Hopefully with Zoom, everything can be absolutely, no delay, and it's just super smooth as well. We'll see. All right, we're gonna go to Slido then. So I did a stream yesterday, so I left some of the questions up here. There were only a few at the time. First question is from Anonymous, and that person asks, hey guys, how would you go about using books like Color and Light or Bridgman's Anatomy to learn? What are good homework ideas to give oneself? The best one, or some of the best ones I've heard, they're all super hard. Okay, but that's why they're the best. Of course, can you draw the thing without looking at it? Right? Then the ultimate, this one I heard from Robert Valley when he was doing life drawings. He would go in and do a life drawing, and then he'd bring them home, and then he would animate them rotating. Can you rotate a study? Could you do the mirror image of a study? Because when you do those kind of things and you look at things differently, then you tend to have to think about it in a different way and make sure that it works by itself, not just compared to the reference. All right. And why don't we go to Discord? Anybody on Discord want to ask a question?
Bobby, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. It's super soft though. I don't know why.
Oh shit. Is this a bit better?
A lot better.
Okay, nice. I just wanted to say, 50 people can see you now in Discord, so there's plenty of room. So come on board and open
We're
Discord.
already here.
Oh, great. And who's this? Where are you from?
Oh, the Russia.
Russia. Awesome. What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Welcome, Daniel.
Oh, so
Fantastic.
yeah. So it's about the question thing now. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Did
would
you
like.
have a question?
Yeah. I would like to. Can you? No. Do you know any decent book about on composition?
On composition. Well, books. Yes. Shoot. I think it's by Hans Bacher.
Hans book.
Hans Bacher.
Uh-huh.
Bacher, I think.
Uh-huh.
I believe he worked on Mulan, the original
Huh.
Mulan, and those had gorgeous compositions. He has a book on composition. I forget the title of it. I'm sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a black bordered
I'll,
book.
I'll figure something.
Okay, and also, of course, there is the Schoolism sale, and if you have a subscription to Schoolism, then there's the Nathan Fowkes composition course. That's
Hmm.
all on composition, so that's pretty cool too.
Okay, thanks.
You're very welcome. All right, why don't we go on to Slido question while people get their Discord questions ready. CJ Rusoto. Let's see here. What do you do when a reference subject is harder than you expected? Leave it for when you get a little better, or try to work it out? Wow, that's a great question. Um, I tend to go with the philosophy of, if something's really difficult, it's because you're trying to take on too much at one time. Perhaps it's studying bits of things uh, until you kind of get more and more of it and grasp more and more of it. Let me show you an example here, because this has been a painting that I've been studying for a while. It's awesome. Let me show you. Yeah, this one. Okay, hold on one second. Like, holy cow. Jules Alexander Grun, probably pronouncing it wrong again, but that's just my North American kind of looking at the spelling of the name. Look at that. How could you study that, right? There's like, what, 200 people. Actually, there's probably more like 800 people in this painting. Suggestions of a lot of them. But look at that. Just so cool. You could study each one of these faces, one a day. Right? How fun would that be? And look at these guys. They're just tiny suggestions, but they totally read as people. And then these beautiful statues that just glow, which fascinates the heck out of me. And all these beautiful faces, all in different angles. Jules Alexander Grun. Alexander is like with a R-E in the end instead of E-R. Great, so why don't we go to Discord? I see a bunch of people on there now. Does anybody want to ask a question?
Also, Linda, she had asked, should I upload my portfolio somewhere before the stream? I think,
Right now, I'd say no. I don't have anything really, like, to submit. I guess you could submit it to. You know what? You can submit it to info@schoolism.com, and just put in the subject title, uh, for Friday's portfolio stream, or something like that, and or for
I can
Bobby,
also
you know.
make it a place in the Discord for it if you like. But
Oh, yeah, that might get okay. I'll try. I just don't want to mess anything up. But yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning. But
we
wasn't
will
that
do that.
painting so cool? Right? That painting was just epic. Friday at the French Artist Salon is the name of it. Um, just spectacular. Anyhow, I saw that somebody was going to ask a question perhaps on Discord, or should we go to Slido again?
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Um, I was just wondering, like, I find myself recently like sitting down, kind of ready to do art, but then I haven't picked a focus,
Yeah.
and then I kind of get drowned by like the 50 million different options. Like, should I do fundamentals? Should I do a study? How do you like pick a focus quickly and make sure that you do the work? Does that make sense?
Right. Well, okay, so first part to this is, if you feel like one of those ideas is like a good one, then list it down. And then if you have too many, like me, I have just too many things I want to do, I list them all down, and then I look at which ones would I get rid of if I had to get rid of some, all the way down to like as few as I can, and still there might be three. At that point, you just pick one. Pick whatever, it doesn't matter. Every one is a good one. If it's that hard to decide which one to take off of there, I was talking about this before in another stream where it's just like, whatever we learn, it will come back to us in helpful ways. So the most important thing is to stick to something until you learn something before moving on, right? Just like these studies, if people are doing them and they don't feel like they really learned anything, but they copied it, then you got to keep going. You got to go back to it. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to like slowly build more and more tools in our toolbox, so to speak, and that's what's going to make our careers successful.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. And then like it all comes back next time you do another study, like what you learned last time.
Absolutely. Whether it's environments, storyboarding, animation, you know, it all comes back.
Cool. All right. Thank you. I think that helped a lot.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. And did somebody else have a question at this point?
Hey Bobby, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Oh, my name's Connor. I'm from USA.
Awesome. Hey, Connor.
Well, I'm wondering. I've been really studying a lot of foliage and forests and all that kind of stuff. This is a bit more of a technical question, but I've been studying Alan Lee, and I'm a bit confused on how he does, like, a lot of the leaves and such. It's very like challenging for me currently. I'm a bit earlier on, but I could really use some help.
Let's try to look up some of Alan Lee's epic tree stuff.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, man. It's awesome.
Let me try to put some. Are you talking about the watercolors or the like more like his pencil drawings?
More of his pencil drawings, like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, such.
Let's see, tree art. Oh yeah. All right. Let me share my screen here for a second. So this is what Connor was talking about. Like something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
This is. I would be very surprised if he didn't use an eraser. An eraser to draw.
Yeah.
I'm saying. So, yeah, that's what I would say. And a lot of like the traditional guys, they totally know how to use erasers on a whole nother level, because they didn't have Photoshop, right? And that was kind of like their ability to paint back in white on a pencil drawing. So I would get an electric eraser. That's how you can get really, really bright whites back. And I would assume that he's just going back and forth. He's going pencil, going back over with eraser, back to support it with pencil, and so on and so forth.
Man, that's fantastic. Oh, it's so good.
Love it. So awesome. Alan Lee.
Well, I mean, I think you answered my question there, honestly. It wasn't really much to it. I hope you have a really fantastic rest of your day, man. So
you too, Connor.
Adios.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we go to a Slido question because they're piling up. Oh shoot! I just got logged out. Okay, so Slido questions. How to promote yourself on social media? If you do more things for work, graphics, illustration, digital coloring, etc., choose only one to remain consistent. Well, okay, so I'm a little confused about the question, but I will do my best. how to kind of promote yourself on social media if you're doing more than one thing. I'm pretty sure that's what you mean, Lucia. I apologize for if I did, interpret this wrong, but how do you promote yourself if you do more than one thing? That's me totally through and through, right? Choose only one to remain consistent, or all of them, or do all of them have to have their own channels, right? Like Schoolism has its own channel, Lightbox Expo has its own channel. I got my own, social media as well. The thing is, I always kind of look to what is the experience of the viewer, of the follower. Are they going to want all of this stuff? Maybe. Maybe if it's like the page is mostly about you and your life, and every once in a while you show like what kind of shake you're drinking in the morning and stuff, like, you see what I mean? Like, that's, I'm thinking of like something like the Kardashians or something, but because they do so many things, and it centers around their lives, and then they talk about the different things. What I try to do is I try to center everything that I'm doing around my art, and I'll show other stuff like Schoolism sale, for example, Lightbox Expo going online, Emmy Awards for our TV show that I rarely talk about, Nico and the Sword of Light. It's nominated for an Emmy this year. Boom, awesome. Cross the fingers, right? That's pretty surreal. Then there's the projects that we work on, and so on and so forth. So anyways, think about it from the followers' point of view, the subscribers' point of view. What's going to make a good experience for them? Why are they following you in the first place? These are all very good questions to ask yourself, because if you can tap into that, and then hopefully you can tap into who are they? Not who are they specifically, but what is their avatar? What age are they generally? Where are they from? All those kind of things, to try to figure out who is actually interested. Who are the really hardcore people that are interested in your stuff? So for me, for Schoolism, I know it's 21 to 40 years old. That's the sweet spot. That's where generally 21 to 40-year-olds will use Schoolism, and they find it super helpful. They are generally professionals, 70% professionals that just started in their professional career. Okay? That might be surprising because it's not mostly students. But yeah, so I cater my stuff towards professionals like myself. All right. So next thing I want to get to is, why don't we take another Discord question? Any more Discorders?
Yep.
Hey, what's your
Hey,
name? Where are you
Bobby.
from?
Arturo from Colombia.
Hi, Arturo.
I had a question because I'm studying like two careers. I'm studying by one side visual arts, and by the other side I'm studying systems engineering. So, like, my question is, how would you mix them, or like make like an art version of system engineering stuff, like programming? And because I still don't have like a focus or a point where I want to do something with both.
Right. Do you feel like you're struggling doing both?
No, I'm like 1.5 years from graduating, and things are going really well actually.
Well, then it sounds like you don't really have a problem and you could study both.
But how would you like mix them or do
For
something with
me,
both of them?
okay, so systems engineering. I would think about how to use my knowledge of systems engineering to help create something helpful for artists that will, of course, benefit me because I'm the one making it. Or the other way around, where like, how can my art help the overall experience of system engineers be better? Those are the things that
Okay.
come to mind like right away. You know what I mean? Because like, what other connections could there be? I don't know that much about systems engineering, but that's where I would start off thinking.
Okay, okay. Thanks. Thanks.
You're
That's
welcome.
really helpful.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for the question. Anybody else on Discord? All right. So we'll go to CJ Rusoto here again on Slido. What do you do when a reference subject is harder than... Oh, I think I went through that already. Federica. That's a cool name. When studying a painting, do I need to use the same medium the original artist used, or should I use whatever I want as long as I achieve the final result? Uh, I would say it's definitely very interesting using the exact same mediums as the artist. However, it doesn't matter. There's no rules for art. With every rule, you can find an exception to the rule. So I would use whatever you want to use depending on what you want to study about it. Right? So if you want to study like and get more familiar with actual paint and how real paint mixes with real paint, then of course you're not going to do it digitally. And of course, there's many different things that you can extrapolate, you can learn when you're studying things digitally. And there's advantages too, because you don't have to wait for paint to dry. You can also eyedrop things to see exactly how much pigment there is compared to other colors that you see. You know, how much saturation is there. So that can be very, very helpful. I really feel like it's all about what you know, like everything that we can study. There's almost like limitless possibilities of what we can study from it. All right. I hope that answers your question. I know it might not be super helpful because it's not specific, but that is, in my mind, that's the correct answer. It shouldn't be specific. Anybody else in Discord? All right. We'll go into Slido. Here we go. It says, hi, Bobby. I'm interested in many different creative activities, etc. Or, for example, drawing, acting, playing instruments, developing games. Should I only focus on one to get better? It kind of goes back to Arturo's question. I just say stick to one. The fastest way to learn something is just to stick to that one thing, and that you're all about that every day, every second. You'll find improvements happening every week. You should. If you focus on two things, some people can do that. Some people, maybe they learn better that way, because focusing on one thing might get too boring too fast. I wouldn't go beyond two unless you're truly like, yeah, I wouldn't go beyond two, and I would try to stick to just one. You know, because, and also I think it was who was it? It's Connor that was saying he had a bunch of different subjects that he was interested in, but didn't know which ones to concentrate on. And I was saying that it doesn't really matter as long as they're somewhat good, they will help each other. Is this the same for drawing, acting, playing instruments, developing games? I would say yes. even though those are so vastly different, I would still say yes. Drawing will have. Yeah, now that I know how to draw better, I would figure if I'm acting, I would start thinking of my silhouette more, you know? Thinking about my composition more in the camera, things like that. And that would help. Acting, of course, will help my drawing. Drawing people, drawing any kind of characters. Playing instruments, help me, learn how to draw people playing instruments. That's number one, because I would know how to correctly hold an instrument, things like that. And developing games, same kind of thing, right? Everything really does help everything else, even if it's learning how to speak better. Well, learning how to speak better, you got to really think about the viewer's point of view, how they absorb everything that you're saying. And that's very similar to how we paint. We have to think about the viewer's point of view and how are they going to absorb everything that we're painting. So on the highest levels, everything connects to everything else. I haven't seen an example that doesn't. Yeah, there we go. Why don't we do one more Slido question? I'll come back to Discord, okay, Discorders. So, Pratik says, I'm at a crossroads in my life where I can learn something that will reward me in the long run, join an atelier, or another that will reap me benefits immediately. Pratik, I am always about the long run. I'm always about building something that will last, something meaningful, and generally those are things that take time. We talk about things like, I've talked about how I want to attract jobs as opposed to looking for jobs, right? And attracting jobs, it's a lot more of a long game than the short game of like just sending your portfolio out to 1,000 people. If you do things right and you're consistent and everything, you will gain in popularity, gain awareness. People will gain awareness of your art, and because of that, you have a bigger and bigger voice. And then anytime you put out new art, people inevitably will contact and ask you to work on their stuff. It happens all the time. Like there's a direct correlation. I see it. When I post a few things, inevitably people will ask, what are you working on now? Can you work on this? When I don't post a few things, I get less of those inquiries. It's absolutely directly related. So in the long run, it seems like join an atelier seems like the right move. Whenever it's a job where you're like, I don't necessarily want to do this job, but I could do it pretty quickly. Maybe I'll just do it quick, get out of the way, make a little extra cash, and move on. The thing is, in terms of getting quickly to your potential in your career, that right there, that's a detour. That's a speed bump, a big speed bump. It's more like a detour. You're going the wrong way. Right? Every time you take one of those jobs where it's like you don't really want to do it, but you can do it, but it's, it's not what you want to do, you're taking a detour. You're stopping your progression. And that time that you're spending on this other thing is only going to delay things further. All right. Discord. Any questions on Discord?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, and see, yeah, Russo Dom.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I already registered for the portfolio webinar you're doing Friday.
Okay.
But the thing is, I don't have really a portfolio per se. It's just a compilation of the creative things I've done in the couple of years. It's not much because the last couple of years have been kind of kind of drag in that area, and I just
Okay.
focus more on practice. But recently, I've been interested in doing like Pinterest style comic books like Alex Ross.
Okay.
Um,
Hold on 1 second though. What is your question? I'm gonna get
yes,
right
I was
to
going
it.
to that.
Okay, let's
I
get
was going
right
to
to
that.
that.
I was going to. I was. Yeah, the. A moment, please.
No problem.
The I was. My question is because my what I want to submit is very scattered. Is not very point blank on the subject. Is that was going to be a problem or something? Um.
One thing that a common thing that people say is like, my portfolio is not ready. Just hand in whatever you got, because it's really about if I have something to say about it that could help you. You don't
Yeah.
know unless you hand it in.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Good to hear from you again. All right, anybody else have a
Uh,
question on Discord?
Yes. Hi, Bobby.
Hi,
How
what's
are
your name?
you?
Where are you from?
My name is Ina. I'm from Russia. I have a one question. uh,
Okay.
Now I work as a lead artist at a casual game studio, and things are that I need to teach juniors and give feedbacks, etc., etc. But I really feel like I I have so much to study myself, and I would actually prefer to work as a just, if I can say like that, regular artist, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
lead artist. I mean, among stronger artists team. And my question is whether I should put in my CV the information about working as a lead. Because on the one hand, I think it's important. It defines candidate in some good ways, right? But on the other hand, potential employers start offering me jobs of lead artists or seniors, and I don't know what to do with that. So maybe you have some advice for me about this situation?
Zena, um, do you feel like you're close? Like, if you gave it another 2 years, do you feel like you would earn that lead or senior artist spot in a way that makes you feel good? Hello?
I
Yeah.
now I work as a lead, but
Right, but you don't. I'm saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like you're feeling like, well, I don't feel like a lead yet. I feel like I need
yes,
to study a lot more.
yes, exactly.
Yes, so what I'm saying is, if you gave yourself a good 2 years of hard work, do you feel like
Mhm.
you would be able to earn that spot?
I don't know. Probably yes.
Okay. I think, and I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking that somebody there definitely feels that you deserve that spot and that you can handle it. Because so many times, in my life included, where I didn't feel like I was prepared for something, and then there's always somebody that does believe that, and they give you that shot. Take it, believe in them believing in you if you don't believe in yourself. Does that make sense?
Thank you so much.
I think that was a thank you, and you're welcome. It's very nice to meet you, Zena. Awesome. Why don't we go to a question on Slido? And let me just pause on that thought for a second, because back in the day, what's this, 15 years ago, something like that, Ken Ralston believed in me. Ken Ralston, I think he was a supervising special effects guy on A New Hope, the original first Star Wars ever. He's had 14, 15, some odd Oscar nominations, winning like 4 or 5 of them. And he's looking at me going, yeah, I want you to work with me, creating live action characters. And that was my first live action job. I didn't believe in myself, but I just figured, hey, this guy, this legend of legends, he must know something. He's been in the industry for long enough. Maybe he knows something that I don't. And maybe I should just believe in him that he believes in me. And I don't need to believe in myself. I just need to believe that Ken knows what he's doing. And through all these interviews that I've done with all these incredible artists over the years, over the 10 plus years, there's always been all of these stories where it's like, no, I didn't think I was ready. But then so-and-so gave me that chance. But Iain McCaig tapped me on the shoulder and said, yeah, I want you to do it. Things like that. It's a common thing. It's a common thing. And a lot of times when we don't feel like we're ready yet, with our portfolios perhaps, with whatever job opportunity, the ones that really succeed are just the ones that took it anyways. It didn't mean that they felt differently, perhaps. A lot of them didn't. They just went with it. So go with it. Ride the wave. See where it takes you. All right. Discord, anybody want to ask a question? Currently, we have about 40 minutes left in the challenge.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Where are you from?
Last time, I'm Mexico.
Hi.
Last time I tried to contact you, but the microphone didn't function.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Here's my question. How did you start Schoolism? I mean, when you first got the idea of Schoolism, who did you reach?
Who did I what?
Reach first?
Oh, reach first.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm in Toronto, Canada, just drawing away. And at that time, it was all about the blogs. There's no Facebook, there's no anything. It's just blogs, right? And I was looking at these blogs and looking at all these artists in California that were drawing so amazingly and posting all this amazing art. And I wondered to myself, how do they do that? I want to learn how they do that. And then it wasn't until a trip to San Diego Comic-Con where, Kay and I were completely new. We got ourselves a little table and don't know anybody, eating by ourselves every night. And then one of the nights, Steven Silver invites us to go and have dinner with him and a bunch of his friends. So at dinner, I talked to him about the famous artist course that Norman Rockwell had with his friends, where back in the day you would sign up for the famous artist course and you get these big, beautiful books in the mail. And in the books are lessons. You do the lessons and you mail it back to the famous artist course. And after a couple weeks or something, it would come back to you with some tracing paper over top and a professional has drawn over top of your stuff. So I told Steven, I said, now with the internet, we can do this for real. We could do the 2000 version of this because this is like 2005. And he was like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try it. And then we went home from San Diego Comic-Con super happy, and I was probably pretty stressed out too, because now I had to build the first online art school that gave actual feedback in visual form, in video form, before Facebook, right? To people around the world. And that's how Schoolism started, because I wanted to learn from Steven Silver. And the best part about the story was I told him, I was like, yeah, and don't worry, I'll watch your videos, I'll do your lessons and stuff to make sure that they're good. And then he was like, oh wow, thank you, that's great, that'd be very helpful. I was like, oh, I'm onto something, I'm gonna ask somebody else. And then I just started asking more and more people.
Super cool. I enjoyed that story.
What's that? Well, anyways, yeah, that's how Schoolism started. It was very much a side thing. Really, I just wanted to learn how other people did things. But I feel like there's a lesson in that as well. Because when you have a genuinely good idea that isn't kind of based on trying to make a lot of money, something that hopefully solves a problem, hopefully helps people, hopefully does something for them in service of them, those tend to be really good ideas. As long as the financial stuff works in the end, they tend to be good ideas. And that's what I kind of base my ideas off of. It's not about whether or not I can make any financial anything off of it. Like Lightbox, that was a big gamble, a huge gamble. To run an event like that, you have to pay, I think we had like 40 some odd people employed. Then there's the AV crew and all, it just goes up and up and up. So let's go to Discord, or let's go, any other questions on Discord? We could go to Slido if there isn't. Well, maybe we could talk about this painting as well. This painting, I had no idea what I was going to do. So I just started drawing. Drew a little body, then I was drawing it holding something, and then I was thinking, what could it be holding? And then so on and so forth, created a character and a little baby character. And then I was thinking, maybe it sits on this rock because it helps to camouflage it. And that's why it's all gray. So, of course, I'll be adding in some spots as well to help it camouflage a little bit better with the rock. And that's the idea. So why don't we go to a Slido question now? So this Slido question comes from Strios. Strios asks, how do you show through your art or portfolio that you are a problem solver? Notes, right? You could start off by just having a statement. A world in the mind of a 9-year-old child. And then you would draw little sketches out. Here's the control panel. These are memories, right? These memories are in balls, and they go through this machine, and they're entered into this place, and so on and so forth. That's super cool. Yeah, if you do that, and you do it well, that's a very valuable skill, for sure. It helps to make movies and games make sense, right? Stories make sense. Great question. Let me go back to Discord. Anybody on Discord have a question ready?
Yes. Hi, Boy.
Hi. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Steven. I'm from Hong Kong.
Hi.
Yes, I got a questions about the portfolios. When you said it's good to just like submitting anything that we have at the moment, but would it be like better to tailor made like a complete how to say it like a story characters with like proper lore and show with all the concepts and ideas to the studio that you're applying for, like to the directors that like
Oh,
the artists.
definitely. I'm
Yeah.
I'm saying more for the stream that I'm going to do on Friday. Just
Oh,
submit
okay,
whatever.
okay.
But also, let me just clarify, right? Stephen, you want to submit the best of whatever you can do with what you got.
Yeah.
I think that's the better statement, right? So the best you can do with what you got for a game company would be to cater what you got to that game company, right? So if you have 1,000 pieces, you're not going to send them 1,000 pieces. You're going to send them like 15, 20 pieces that go along with what they do. Yeah, but the main thing is, let's stop hesitating to start creating a relationship or start contacting people, because so many times, more often than not, we think we're not ready when we already are. I'm
And
just saying
also
in
would
general.
style be like very important because specific studios want artists to submit their portfolio like has a style that close to theirs. But if all studios is like, if I want to apply 5 studios and 5 studios also have their unique design, do I have to like basically tailor make 5 different portfolios for each company, like 5 styles for all for each studio?
I would, yeah, because this
Okay.
is the thing. It's like the more preparation you make, the faster shortcuts you can make in your career. But when you take shortcuts applying to places and showing them how you are qualified, and not showing them in the best way that you can, then that becomes, an impediment and slows you down in your career. Lightbox Expo, there's like hundreds of artists. I don't need to send out the emails, but I do. I send out personal emails to every single one of them. People wonder how I gathered so many artists. It's because I literally wrote out, hundreds of emails at a time to every individual person, and every one of them is an individual email. Otherwise, I could have did it how everybody else does it and put everybody's email into one email or something like that, or send out email blast, and then maybe work on this event for 7 years before it does anything, right? Or I can spend a heck of a lot of time and effort in the very first one and make it this gigantic thing right away. Yeah. See, I'm not about the quick solutions. I'm all about building something that will last and that's strong and has foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Answer.
question. Awesome. Anybody else on Discord? All right. Why don't we go to Slido then? Slido, there's a question here that says, from Anonymous, did you ever work hard for a goal and once achieved lost interest and moved on? I realize this is a pattern for me. Not sure if good or bad for my art. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Like making a show. Nico and the Sword of Light worked super hard on that. weekends, late nights for 2 years, right? Weekends and late nights for 2 years while doing the regular job during the day. Then we got that, into a best-selling app. Then we got it made into a show. And then once we got the pilot episode, I worked on it for a bit, and then I moved on. It's really the team. I'm blessed to have an amazing team that runs the show and does awesome with it. Rob Hoagie is our writer and showrunner. He's fantastic. He was the one that really took the comic book and envisioned the world. Yeah. It's still my show as well, But I have that same pattern. When things are not working, when things are chaotic, then I'm very interested. When things are really working well, then I'm not that interested because it's already really working well. It's not to say I won't do it still. But I tend to fidget. I tend to fidget with things and see how we can improve them constantly, even if things are working well. For many of you that have kind of followed me along these streams, you know all about that. You know all about Ustream. You know all about sketchaholic.com back in the day. You know all about Facebook live streams as well, and Twitch streams. I've tried them all. I constantly am trying new things. And tomorrow it's going to be Zoom. We're going to use Zoom, do a webinar. There you go. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it really depends on how well it works for you. Because if you don't reap any of the rewards from your hard work, then it gets harder to move on to something else, right? If you're always reaping rewards from your hard work, not to say that it isn't in service of other people or doing other people even more good, but if you are constantly reaping some of those rewards, it helps you to be able to do other things. There's a lot of kind of just general life questions today, which is interesting and cool. Yeah, Noah, I see your comment in the YouTube thing. Gonna be doing webinars. Gonna be doing, for everybody that just tuned in, we're gonna be doing consistent new content every day for the next 11 days. A bunch of these will be live, starting with tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing a stream at a different time. It'll be 2 p.m. Eastern time, so that's minus 4 hours GMT. And that's going to be painting this same subject again. We're going to continue the regular stream on Tuesday as well, but I wanted to do a couple streams with you where I just show you how I don't stop at just one time. I keep going on the same subject over and over again until I own that, as much as I can. So join me as well. I encourage every single one of you to join me as well and do it again. And do it again. I want to do a third one on Sunday, which I'm looking into my schedule and should be possible. And then Friday, I'm going to have another webinar. I'm going to be using Zoom on these days because I didn't want to have Patricia commit to doing Discord for all these days. So yeah, they're going to be done on Zoom, and then that way I'll be able to use all the little functionalities of Zoom webinars, and it should be fun. How can you join? Well, you can look at the details of this stream for how to join the Zoom webinars. Okay. So it should be fun. It should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. And we have about a little bit over 20 minutes left on this stream. You can see I'm slowing it down a bit, and you can see also how I start to put in some spots, and now it's starting to kind of become a bit more like The Rock, I'm hoping. Okay, why don't we go on to a Slido question here. Slido question is from Anonymous, and it says, is it wiser to invest time in a strong portfolio or building a platform as an artist when it comes to finding work? Both are important. It definitely feels like the majority of the time you are working on that strong portfolio, right? And only a fraction of the time you're spending building a beautiful platform, beautiful website. That's what I'm assuming you mean by platform. But that also matters. Definitely not as much though. It's like the icing on the cake. You know, especially nowadays, you can totally get away with not having a website, just using social platforms. You know, just using ArtStation, perhaps. Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Is it wiser to invest? Okay, yeah, so took care of that one. Is there any more Discord questions?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Stan and I'm from Belgium.
Hi. What's your question?
You draw digitally, yeah?
Yes.
But if you should give some advice, should you say, like, you have the tablets to draw on and you see it on your screen, but is that better than tablets when you see it on the tablet itself or not?
Oh, so like some tablets have the screen, the monitor, and then some tablets don't, right? That's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I know some artists, some professional artists, some of the best artists, they don't like to have a screen. They don't like to have the monitor on their tablet. Dice Tsutsumi comes to mind. You know, he was the art director, or color art director for Toy Story 3, Monsters University, all sorts. He doesn't use, as far as I know, he doesn't use a tablet with a screen. He doesn't use a Cintiq monitor. Neither does Ryan Lang, I believe. Maybe he's changed now. Nathan Fowkes is another one. He doesn't use a monitor tablet to this day. So it really depends on you. I like using a big Cintiq monitor. The bigger, the better. So yeah.
You draw on the tablet, but you don't see it on the tablet. You see it on another screen or what?
Well, Cintiq is the tablets with the screen on it. So I'm saying I like to have the biggest screen tablet that I can find.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't need it to do beautiful paintings. So thank you very much for your question. Awesome. Any other Discord questions?
Hi, Bobby.
Hi. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Pablo from Colombia.
Hi, Paulo.
I'm sorry about my English.
Oh, no problem.
I have a question that, it's really frustrating. I'm taking the pictorial class with Nathan Fowkes. And I see the feedback. I'm the self-taught program. And when I see those feedbacks from other people, I see that they really improve their art, but I'm not improving. I mean, I even really don't know what kind of brush to use. So with opacity and I don't know, with full opacity, with transfer, no transfer. I know that this thing of brush is a common question and it's really annoying for you as an artist, but I really don't know because I take your digital painting class and you use opacity on that class, and Nathan
Yes.
Fox, I don't know. So
A lot of artists,
maybe
a lot of artists, they don't use the brush the same way I do. I would say most
okay,
artists
yeah.
don't.
So
Because when I was learning how to paint digitally, I was just learning by myself. I didn't know anything. So the way that I learned it ended up being different than everybody else. And so I paint differently. Nathan, generally, a lot of other people, like Nathan, they most likely they change their opacities and everything, but in their brush options, they also click on transfer and have opacity or flow being pressure sensitive, uh, so that they can paint less opaque, but the brush size doesn't change, and then they could do more opaque. I seen Nathan's brush strokes, and it's generally the same brush size consistently, but his opacity and his flow changes with pen pressure.
okay. So what would you recommend me to, I don't know, don't be frustrating when I see the other feedbacks or those people who really improve their art and I'm not really
Well,
going so far?
definitely, definitely you can't ignore
Don't give up.
frustration. You can't ignore frustration, but at the same time, it's like, just like how we get frustrated when we're doing exercises. There's a way to enjoy frustration. There's a way of looking at it, because that's your brain trying to figure things out, and it's just trying to push this really heavy weight, and it can't do it just yet. That's how I look at it. But in your case specifically, I would, if it's the brush strokes that are kind of confusing you and doesn't look the same, then I would look into my brush options and try to not have my size change, the brush size change as much with pressure sensitivity. Maybe it goes down, smaller, 20% if you press lighter. And then I would go to transfer in my brush options and make sure that I play around with having flow or opacity or both being pressure sensitive to my brush strokes.
Okay, Bobby, thank you very much. That was really helpful.
You're welcome. Yeah, and like I said, everybody, it's such a no-brainer. Like, the Schoolism sale, you're getting 33% off. You're getting $100 off an entire year of education, and that whole entire year of education is less than $1 a day. So, take advantage. Take advantage. All right. Why don't we go to another Slido question here? This one is from Christart. This person says, what do you think about the future and changes for the animation industry? Everyone talks about how the coronavirus will affect education, the economy, etc. I feel like we gotta stay positive, and there's great reason to stay positive. One is that when you look into history, every disadvantage, every chaotic time was a time of huge growth afterwards, of huge opportunity. Don't be afraid. Think about how we can thrive off of this time, so that when all of this is over, we'll come out transformed. That's what I'm doing all these practices for. That's why I'm doing all these streams, because I don't want to come out of this painting the same way, drawing the same way. I got all this extra time now that I don't have to drive to work. So I'm spending it with you, and I'm trying to encourage you, everybody, to come on with me, come train with me, because if I'm improving and you're going along with me, then everybody that is doing all these challenges with me, they will see improvement as well. They'll see themselves change as well. The future of animation seems strong. It's live action that is having the much harder time. A lot of live action artists are not working right now. Most animation artists seem to still be working. It's interesting. It'll be an interesting time. And I've definitely heard like the effects that this will have on the economy, the education. They're already talking about how are they going to, a lot of schools are talking about how are they going to open up schools next year online, which is interesting. Yeah. It's big. It's big. It could be very scary. It could be very scary for many of us. But we just, we can focus on whatever we want to focus on. And whatever we focus on will just grow more and more. So if you focus on kind of like dwelling about how horrible this all is and we can't really do anything about it, that's what's going to fester and grow in your head. But if you think how I'm thinking, which is this is a huge opportunity for the ones that will take it, because everybody else is feeling, sad and sorry for themselves and things like that, which is totally understandable, but it's not going to help very much. We'll come out of this glowing. We'll come out of this very, like, in a very positive way. And if we don't, well, you know what? We gave it a try. We tried the hardest we could, and we didn't just sit there and let the world crumble. Right? We were there to try to do something good, something positive. Now I feel like I'm preaching. But yeah, I'd say keep your head up and look to the good. 'Cause there is a lot of good that can come out of this. All right. We could probably take a couple more questions as this painting is finishing up. Anybody on Discord want to ask a question again?
Yes.
All right, CJ Rusotto, I recognize your voice now.
Yes, so Chris Bobby, I have a question for you regardless the portfolio.
Okay.
How many pieces can we submit?
You can, I would say maybe like 3 to 7 at the most. Even if I go over your stuff, I wouldn't be going over 3 to 7 things anyways. I'd be probably picking 1 or 2.
Okay, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome. Anybody else on Discord? All right, well, why don't we go to a Slido question here.
I did hear someone, but it was very low in volume.
Oh.
Can you maybe put it a bit higher?
Can you now?
Yeah, I could. If you could turn it a little bit higher, that'd be even better.
Okay.
Great. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Federica. I'm from, well, the USA. I'm technically Italian, but I just wanted to ask about, basically, I'm excited always about trying to do studies and whatsoever, but honestly, I always get stuck in between two things where basically is I want to keep it simple because I don't want to just go straight into something really hard, and then I try to make it simple, and then I'm like unconsciously starting to make it harder on me. And then when I make it harder on me, I feel like I failed at the end. You know, like the study itself is just, it's like crumbles apart. You know, I
Oh.
feel don't get anything out of it at the end because I just get stuck in between. I don't know if it's clear. I'm sorry.
No, I totally understand that. You know, I think the patience is the word that many of us need to kind of remember when we're in those kind of situations, because we've all been in that situation where our imagination has surpassed our technical skills right now. You know, and I feel like a big part of this is really some things in life, the more you slow it down, the faster you excel. You know, like having a good conversation with a friend. You slow it down and it's like a couple hours. You don't need to talk to that friend for another 10 years, and next time you do, you guys are boom, right back to where you started. As opposed to 5-minute conversations for, 40 times. It's not as effective. Or drawing something slowly over and over again and really understanding every little tiny bit of what you're drawing. That's the best way to learn how to draw that thing faster, right? And for you, I would say it's really about forcing yourself to study something much simpler, much smaller, like a rock, right? And then you put a little furry rock creature on top of it or something like that. It's far easier to take something simple and make it more and more complex and more challenging to however challenging you want to get it. So just stay to that
Yeah,
simple thing.
yeah, I understand. It's a simple concept, and it's just kind of like you want to hear it from someone that's already further than you, in this. So,
I have that
just
same
thank you.
problem though, you know.
Oh, no,
I
I
have that
believe
same
you.
problem. Yeah. Maybe not as much with drawing, but with like kind of bigger ideas like Lightbox Expo or Schoolism. Like I have all these ideas where it's like so complex.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they don't turn out very well. It's best to just keep it simple.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Great. Well, this painting is almost done. Why don't we burn through some more of these Slido questions here? This one's from Anonymous, and this person asks, when learning the fundamentals, what order do you learn them in? And is this link good to learn them from? I'm not sure what that link is, but it depends, because there's different kinds of fundamentals for different things. If you are into animation, there's going to be different fundamentals, right? The bouncing ball, the S curve, the seaweed, or whatever, things like that. Then when you get into drawing, then there's other fundamentals. If you're drawing hard-bodied surfaces like cars, spaceships, things like that, then there's different fundamentals there as well. And then characters, same thing. But a couple things tie it all together. Okay? If you are one of the average people in the world, you can see hue, you can see light, you can see structure, you can see color. Then you take one step back and you are severely colorblind, perhaps, and you don't see any colors. But you can still see light, you can still see structure. Okay, let's go back one more step. Now you cannot see light and you are blind. Do you still know structure? Now that you can't see color, now that you can't see light, can you still know structure? Can you still kind of see structure? Do blind people fall over in their homes? No, not really. They get a sense of structure, I feel. And then one time on some YouTube video, I'm sure some of you know of this, where this blind person drew a building in perspective. What the heck? So I gotta believe that after we strip away all these different fundamentals of things, the one key thing that's still there is structure. So if you're looking for learning fundamentals in what order and things like that, it would be to learn about structure. And what do I mean by this? Creating three-dimensional shapes in whatever way you choose, but to get a good grasp on that, on creating three-dimensionality, especially with your paintings and drawings, because that's 2D. So it's kind of like an illusion. A big shout out to Frank Gigi in the chat there, binge watching the interviews. Awesome. All right, and as we are coming very close to finishing this painting here, Discord, anybody? 3, 2, 1. All right. Slido.
I have a question. Sorry,
Okay, yes.
Hi, my name is Chloe. I'm a South African expat currently living in the UK. I have a question. I watched a YouTube video the other day that was based on using blind contour drawing to break the habit of drawing in symbols. Have you ever used this to break a habit of like that before?
It wasn't to break the habit of symbols, but I've definitely done a lot of blind contours, and what it was for me was connecting my eyes to my hand a lot more, with a much stronger connection. You know, when you're doing blind contours, you can't help but to, hopefully you can't help but to think, what am I drawing? What does this drawing look like? As I'm staring forward, what does my drawing look like on the piece of paper? And the more you do that, the more effort you put in, and the more checking back and forth, okay, yeah, does it look like what I thought it would be? The stronger the connection will be with, from your eyes to your hand. And that was very important for me for quick sketching, especially sketching things that were observational, right? So life drawing, easiest example, whether it's posed life drawing with models or just sketching people from life, you got to keep your head up. You got to constantly observe, and you're only glancing down at your page, right? So that makes blind contour helps with that tremendously.
Okay.
If you wanted to, like I said, every exercise, it's really like, what are you concentrating on in your head that really that will significantly affect the result.
Can I just give an example? When I draw, I do have a lot of symbols in my head, and I don't know if I should ignore them, the symbols that my mind is already making up, or should I just observe it? That's the thing. Like, I don't know, it's like my head explaining it how to do it rather than just looking at the thing and just making up a symbol in accordance to what that thing is.
Well, this is one thing though, like your teacher was saying that blind contours, that's good for what again?
No, it wasn't a teacher, it was from a YouTube video. Was good for breaking habits of just drawing with symbols. So I am trying to ignore the symbols that my brain keeps producing when I try and draw.
See, I don't totally agree with that. I totally do not agree with that. I'm sorry for whoever created that. Like, that is possible, for sure. You can break the habit of creating symbols for what you see by trying to like go for specific lines that you might see, and that's what you're doing the blind contours with, right? But then of course you could just look at something and you can blind contour a bunch of symbols that best represent what you see. And there's huge advantages for learning symbols to represent what you see. If you think about it, that's what the written language is.
Yeah, it's similar to mathematics. Similar to that.
So if we don't have a language for our drawing, how will we be able to understand our drawings afterwards? Say we put it down for an hour or like a day and we look back at it, right? Everything that we're kind of doing, a lot of times they're just symbols. And then hopefully you will still get these wonderful original ways of representing things by observing and everything. But the whole entire idea of starting to create symbols, that's a natural thing that kind of just always happens, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. I was just wondering if it would like impede my ability to understand what I'm looking at, but thanks for answering that though. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
No worries. I apologize for the long-winded answer then.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Sorry. Okay. Well, thanks for answering my question, and I hope everyone else enjoys the stream.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking the question.
Cool.
Anybody else on Discord? All right. Why don't we go to Iain on Slido. This person says, would love to get some updates on the Iain McCaig course. I've been waiting for it ever since you guys did the interview with him. Yes, the mythical Iain McCaig course. We are working on it. I think it'll come out next month, towards the end of June. That's what I'm thinking. But we're working hard on it. We just want to do it justice. But there's a lot of awesome stuff that's constantly coming out of Schoolism. If you haven't noticed, in this last year alone, there's been just a ton of courses. One course I would love to plug is Viktor Kalvachev's course, Deconstructed, Drawing People with Viktor Kalvachev. Phenomenal. Check it out. I know you'll love it. If you have taken the course, let me know what you think in the comments, because it's important for everybody to know about this course. It's awesome. All right, next question here is from Anonymous, and this will be the last one, okay? So Anonymous says, if you have 8 hours a day to practice, study drawing as a beginner, how would you spend them to get the most value? Love from Egypt. I would love to go to Egypt one day and do a workshop. But anyways, so if I had 8 hours a day to practice, study from beginner, oh man, it would be awesome. I think in the very beginning, I would just constantly study, actually, maybe even beyond the beginning. It's really, hopefully, if I had access to people teaching me, then I'd just go straight to lessons and just do lesson after lesson and just practice the heck out of it until I own that knowledge. I feel like I really do understand I own it. You know, beyond that, say I didn't have access to videos, because with videos, it's like you can see them in the process of making the art. Also, if it's a good video, if it's good instruction, you get a clear understanding of what's happening in their heads, which none of us know unless they, explain it to us. But if I don't have access to videos, Schoolism classes, or any other classes, I would do this combo, okay? Find books from the artists that are instructional. But say we don't have any instructional books anywhere, I would say first the answer would be go to something instructional. But if we didn't have anything instructional, I would go to life, photos, art, and a bunch of time where I'm just creating out of my head. And each of those things multiple times. You know, from life, I would study that same thing multiple times. Different lighting, different situations, different focuses while I'm painting that thing. Then I'd go to a photograph of that thing, and just like these studies, painting it multiple times, really studying it, really understanding it. Then going to a piece of art that hopefully has some sort of similarities with the subject matter that I've been studying in life and in the photo. Slowly starting to build a lot of connections here. How did they interpret life and create it into art? How did they do it? And start learning how different people study and create art based on the same subjects. Then take some time to just paint myself without any reference. Sound familiar? Right? A lot of you have been following these streams where I don't use any reference anymore because I painted the thing so many times. Same kind of thing, right? And before you know it, you're leveling up very noticeably every 2 weeks or every month. It's awesome. This has been our 9th week, and I've definitely learned a bunch. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and come back tomorrow if you really want some punishment. Not punishment, but if you really want to struggle and work hard and, you know, develop and everything, come back tomorrow. We're going to be doing this subject again. And let's filter out all the people that might find this boring. And all that will remain are the hardcore artists. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thanks for your help, Patricia, and everybody else that have been helping me behind the scenes. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Great.